Roongie, Drag.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome to the show Warhammer Interviews, where we interview the people who lead the people. Today I am joined by the leaders of the 40k universe, Roongie and Drag. Roongie and Drag, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Hello, my name is Roongie. My previous username used to be Poohmaster III. People couldn't call me the first name or the second name, so they called me the third. I've been using the same headset ever since I started. My all-reliable Quest 2, absolutely shattered and broken into pieces. And I run the Sons of McCrag as well as the 40KU.
My name is Drek Noir. I joined this community 5 years ago. I've ran a lot of factions, from Xenos to Chaos to Imperial. I've made well over 500 avatars, and I currently run a Cadian group called the Bastion of Cadia. I am also the second in command of the 40k universe.
All right. So before we start tonight's show, we actually have a special guest with us here tonight. The creator behind the 40k universe and the Quest side of Warhammer VRChat as a whole. Please, everyone give a warm welcome to Sersh. So, Sersh, it's so good to have you on the show. I'm not sure how many people actually know who you are, but it's good for you to be here anyway. So you created the 40k universe. That's pretty unique right there. I'll tell you that much. Not that many people can say that, being that you are the one who did it. What was going through your head? Do you think it would have lasted this long? Do you think that it would have been this successful and go on for, nearly 5 years now?
Oh, well, gee, I suppose it has been that long. Well, for starters, a fun fact for you. The Imperium was made actually on a coin flip. Fun little fact. Yeah, no, it was, I wanted to make a group back then, because, I saw people doing it. I was like, oh, wow, I want to do that. So I did, but the thing is, I didn't know what I wanted to do, because it was okay. So basically, the coin flip was either I make a 40k group, or I make a Star Wars group.
Oh, wow. It's interesting how one coin flip has dictated the entire future of the Quest community.
Yeah, it was either this or it would have been one of the 5 million galactic empires or something, because there's a lot of those.
Yes, I'm sure that would have been just as successful.
No, it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have, no.
So why a Quest community? There was so many PC ones going on at the time. Why didn't you just make one of those?
Well, there's the very striking fact of, to this day, I don't have a computer. I don't have one. So that was kind of the main reason behind the Quest community. Well, don't have a computer, so there wasn't one yet, so I just made my own, and yeah.
So was it a slow start? Did you not have anyone backing you at the time? I mean, this is a new thing to have the Quest community have an Imperium.
Well, yeah, it definitely was new, but I had some help, mostly Burke, who was my predecessor. It was not predecessor, sorry, my successor in a sense of words. They were the one who helped me set up the actual server, because I'm going to be frank, back then I didn't know how to work Discord servers for Jack. I just ran it. They helped me with all the technical things. And I had some other people who's, honestly, it's been so long I've almost forgotten a few of them, but not really, I remember them. I had a few other guys, my lieutenants and all that, who were in charge of the various, chapters and all that. So I had them, and as well as my little loyal legion of Space Marines.
What was your first group to actually go into your Imperium? Did you start a chapter first, or did you start the Imperium first?
Oh, jeez. Okay, so that's kind of tricky. It was the Imperium first. The chapters and all that came after the fact.
That's a little ambitious.
This is going to sound very silly, but the initial reason I was making the Imperium to begin with was because I was participating in the I think the year was 2016. No, I'm trying to think. Okay, I'm gonna ask you a question. Remind me again the year of the Uganda Knuckles, and this is very important.
The what?
But basically, I made the Imperium to get a bunch of Astartes together so we could participate in the Uganda wars that were happening during the day.
Oh?
Yep, basically we would perform, little incursions into their, quote, homeland that they called it, and we'd go to war.
Oh.
And my Imperium is partly the reason why the Knuckles died off.
Really? That I
Yeah,
would not
That's
expect
one of the
that.
reasons. Yeah, no, I get the Marines together. We do little battle cries. We'd literally storm their homeland, and we would just wipe them out.
Oh wow. That I mean, as any reason to start an Imperium, that is not one I would think.
Well, that wasn't the main reason, but that was a reason. I had the army at the time, so why not put it to good use, I suppose. It rose awareness of our group. People liked it. We got more recruits that way. And yeah, no, I had a good standing Marine army. It was great.
During your time as Emperor, did any other Imperiums prop up when you were doing that, or were you still the first one until the end?
No. Until I stepped down due to mental reasons, I was, to my knowledge, the only Imperium around. And about the time I stepped down, again, due to reasons, we had about 200, 300 plus members at about the time. Yeah.
That's pretty good for a brand new thing. Like, I mean, you single-handedly started a community, the entire Quest wing of Warhammer, and competing against the PC one out of all things.
Well, yeah, it's kind of funny about that, because when I started it, I actually didn't even consider PvP. I just wanted to get a bunch of Astartes together and have some fun and enjoy Warhammer together. PvP what came later, because when we were starting off, it was so long ago that PvP was barely even a consideration at the time. It was crazy. Like, model weapons would have blown our minds back in the day. We barely had functioning guns back then. They were almost all for show. And when we finally did get a PvP map, it was that one map, the ruin map with the wall weapons. That was our one map we used for wars for like the entirety of my emperorship. It wasn't perfect, but we made it work.
It ended up being the map that the Imperium used for a very long time, even after you.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, it was still like the map to go to at the time. Yeah, it's where some of our the old veterans were trained.
So why did you choose your successor? Why did you choose him out of all people?
Well, Burke was more or less my right-hand man at the time, and they helped me set up the server and stuff. I just ran it. They helped with the technical details, and like I said, they were technically supposed to be temporary, because I was just taking a break for mental health reasons, and they were made like Lord Commander or Lord Regent, whatever the title was called. And I was supposed to come back, and then a little incident occurred.
So, Sersh, did you ever think that your community was going to get as far and big as it ended up being?
Well, frankly, no. I didn't think it would. I assumed we'd get, a decent bit of stuff just because, Warhammer. And I knew there were a bunch of guys on Quest who enjoyed Warhammer, so I figured we'd gather up all those guys, how many is where they were. I didn't think it'd get to the point where it did.
How many groups were in your Imperium by the time you left?
Well, like I said, by the time from the start, it was more or less not so much a separate groups. It was more like a ragtag band of Marines of various chapters and colors, because at the time we didn't have enough people to do the organization. I think by the time I left, I think we had about most of the main chapters. Like none of the success. I don't think we really had much in the way of successors. Like more of the main chapters were around back then. So all your standard, you got your blueberries, you got your Imperial Fists, your salamanders, all those guys.
Right. And you didn't have, we talked before the show, you don't have like a Emperor avatar. You never really had an avatar where you show it as the big
No, because we barely had model makers back in the day. We used what we could, and there was one planned for me, but it was never actually made before, I took a break and the incident occurred.
Right. Well, Sersh, we're here with two other members, Roongie and Drac. They are the current leaders of your Imperium. Have you guys met before?
Up until this point? Not entirely, no.
Oh, well, say your formalities.
Well, hello there.
Howdy!
Hello.
How we doing, fellas?
Dude, I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
Well, that's good.
Roongie, Drac, what do you think of Sersh, the creator of the Imperium that you guys currently run?
I think it's interesting to meet someone who has pretty much laid the groundwork for the community we run and the stuff we've done for the community. To meet the person who was essentially the foothold, the first.
Oh.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
It's kind of like meeting George Washington. But,
George
less,
Washington.
Less old.
Yes, the George Washington of the Warhammer community. Yes, that is that's Sersh right there.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Certainly an ancient being in our time, one that I think has a couple of cobwebs still on him that we never dusted off before we started the show. All right, so moving back to our main guests of tonight, Roongie and Drak. You have been in the 40k Imperium a long time, and I'm sure have very long stories to tell. How did you get to the point where you are now leading this Imperium?
Well, I started the same way most people do, as just some guy who gets on VRChat regularly, maybe once every week or so, to play murder mystery. And then I got recruited into the Necrons that Drak ran. Now, at the time, we only had wall weapons, and we could only use bolters. Now, over the course of several years, more and more people joined our Necrons. A few notable people is Pumpkin, Ghost, me, and Crabbo. Those are the notable people that joined. Over the course of a year or so, we had to get split up because Ludwig enforced some rule that we had to split up and create dynasties instead of just being one unified Necron force. So that's where Sawtech was created, where it was me, Pumpkin, Crabbo, and Ghost, and then Drak and his members, until eventually over time I got tired of running the Necrons and I gave Sawtech to Ghost, which is where his Necrons started as Sawtech, as my original Sawtech, and I ran a few other factions. Some notable ones were the Orcs. I still hung around the Necrons a bit. I remember we did a Quark event, like a War in Heaven, where we were Quarks, until eventually over time I ran the True Sons of Horus, but that didn't last long. It lasted about a week until the Ultramarines at that time left. And then when those Ultramarines left, I immediately yoinked the Ultramarines and started running the Ultramarines since October 19th of 2022, and that's how long I've been running the Ultramarines. And as I ran the Ultramarines, I started learning how to make maps, and I was making a generalized map for the community. I wanted to make like a rally world for us to all like come together and be able to line up, have events or whatever. Ludwig took note of that, saw me making the map, and that's how I got into talking with Ludwig, and we became friends, kind of like acquaintances, where we would talk every now and again. I finished the map, and then over time, I made more and more things for the Imperium. Some notable things were I helped Ghost with testing out the Quest melee side for when Particles came out. I worked on most of the maps that came out, such as the ones that Pumpkin made. Probably don't know, like Frostbite, some other like Imperial Halls, some other maps like that. I helped with most of those maps. Ice World, Schrodinger, all those worlds. The worlds that pretty much everyone plays now have been worked on by the four people I mentioned: me, Pumpkin, Ghost, and Crabbo. And to go back to Ludwig, I eventually made it into second in command. He put me into second in command. We did a lot of events together until eventually I interviewed everybody in our Imperium about their thoughts on how it was getting run and how Ludwig, what their thoughts on Ludwig, and most people had negative views of Ludwig. So I went to go remove him, but instead of me removing him, he just said he'd make it easier and left on his own accord. And since then, we haven't heard from him.
All right. Well, what about you, Drak? What's your story here?
I joined the Imperium in around 2020, 2021. This was the time I believe Burke ran it, and I had joined Ludwig's really old Ultramarine group. I had went to the Rally World, and I don't remember who recruited me, but someone did, and I went around, I participated in some trainings, and my internet's awful. I was like, I'm probably not really good for a combat role, so I went to the AdMech for more of a support type role, and the AdMech at that time was kind of dead. I didn't know anything about Warhammer. So maybe a few weeks passed. I started learning about Warhammer. During that time, Ludwig took over. He became Emperor. That's all background stuff, but it's important to know that's when the reference of time is. But essentially, I learned about Necrons, and I thought, damn, this is cool. So I started them. And over the course of a year or two, I, built up quite a few people. I became the representative for all Xenos factions, as we were the big one, if sometimes not the only one. And I wanted to ensure that everything was fair for us, since at the time, Xenos kind of got the short end of the stick when it came to weapons on that weapon wall. So I tried to, fight for equality, I guess. But over time, as Roongie already explained, a lot of things happened. For a time when Ludwig first stepped down, we did these emperor elections. I was the first person voted in after him, and there's a few other people who came after me. He came back and was like, we're not doing that anymore. And then, you already heard from him. He was put in that position after, some public disagreements, I guess. And I was there trying to do my best to help out. I did not really participate too much on world making. I made one. I'm not good at making worlds, so I stick on the avatar side. Nowadays we use particle weapons. I make some of the prefabs. He makes half, I make the others.
Your half? There is no your half of the
prefabs.
But that's what we do nowadays. We always work together as a team for the entirety that we've been here. Ever since he was first recruited into my group, he's always been one of my closest guys. Like, I'd go to him if I had any, things that I thought I needed advisement on. So it kind of worked out vice versa. When he's leading, I'm there to bounce ideas off of him. Sometimes, devil's advocate, and we kind of just push each other to do more and more.
The BC community doesn't like us very much. I'm not sure. Not all of them are, obviously. Not everyone in a community is going to hate other people. But there's a lot of hate that comes our way from the PC community. There's a lot of asset gaping. There's a lot of people in there who think we're just children. There's a lot of discrimination and gatekeeping. I think if one of the groups decides to do an interview with me, I think maybe that will pull them a little bit. Maybe they'll realize we're not so bad.
Dude, you will be the bridge.
Maybe I'll be the bridge, maybe. I know Falco.
You are going to bring down the Iron Curtain, bro.
The Iron Curtain.
You will bring it down.
Flapjack's done interviews before there's this one channel I cannot for the life of me remember the name for. But a couple of years ago, they were doing interviews specifically for PC stuff. And I know that Flapjack was in there a lot. I don't know if Flapjack created the PC community or therefore kind of the community of Warhammer on VRChat to begin with. I don't know if that was Flapjack
he
or
made
someone
the system.
else. He made this. No,
Flapjack.
GoFluff made the system. His friend.
I get them
GoFluff made
confused.
the system. Flapjack he was the biggest group, which I don't know if he still is. I think he still does. Blood Ravens group.
Yeah, he does.
And that's where a lot of PC users, he would make maps, I think. If I remember right, this is when I first got my PC, I tried out. But Flapjack was all about all that stuff, and it seemed really odd because everyone universally respected him, and I didn't know who the fuck this guy was.
I want to say he's who created the Warhammer community. I'm not sure though. I know of Brava, but I think Brava may have come after Flapjack, so I'm not sure. I'm not sure who created it, and I'd like to know. I think Falco might go ask him soon, because I was talking to Falco about that. And so maybe we'll find out. I'd love to know who created the community as a whole. This is the man who created the Quest one, but who created the whole thing, Either way, I'd love to get to chat with some PC groups. I am so down for doing that. Don't hate me, guys. I'm just trying something new, okay? Come on. We don't hate you guys. We just hate how much you guys hate us. We're the Quest community, but we should be more than just a Quest community. We should be a community that's just open. We are not gatekeepy. We don't gatekeep assets or avatars or certain stuff. And a huge thing with particles, yes, they are definitely the way of our group's future, but there's still a lot of new groups that don't have avatar creators who can do particle stuff, and I don't think we should be taking away wall weapons from groups who can't do that. Luckily there are box systems that still exist. Not all avatar creators can do particles, or some groups who don't have avatar creators and just use other avatars, they don't have that chance. It would be nice if as a community we were more open and accepting to groups that don't have the ability to do that kind of stuff, because we're supposed to be the group that's not gatekeepy, that isn't discrimination against all sorts of other groups and stuff like that. We are supposed to be the open one.
And that's kind of how I had it set up during the old days, the days of yore, as there were. Like we kind of had to be unified because, like, any of our armor smiths, they weren't attached to a specific group. They were for everyone. They did what they could for anyone who needed it, and it seems like that's no longer the case.
I don't know. Like, to be fair, I don't know how things are in the 40k Imperium anymore. I left a while ago.
I have no idea how it is right now.
Yeah.
I'm still in there, but I just
Haven't done anything since forever.
Here's the thing. This is what I did when I was like when I was the emperor. Like when Ludwig left, you know, he dipped, and I was emperor for like the first few months. I contacted like all the emperors I knew of. I mean, there's a bunch of emperors, some with like 30 members, some with like 100, some with like 400, and I was just getting all like the main ones. So like Birds of Prey, at the time, Birds of Prey, the Impossible Imperium, and then Falcus Imperium. Which one's that? That one's Birds of Prey,
That is
right?
Birds of Prey, yeah, that is.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I get that one mixed up. So those are the two main ones I was talking to, and I was trying to get us to like come together and like agree on like a rule set we can all use, so that everybody can use the prefabs I was making. Because I have like prefabs, and of course, as you already surmise, it just dwelled into just arguments and just yelling at each other, because the way we balance our rules are different from other people's, so it just drove into a big mess. So after seeing how actively reaching out and trying to be helpful to everybody, we're like, well, we're gonna be open to all the groups. So we made an announcement, or I made an announcement saying like, hey, if you want to run a group, I'll make you avatars. We have prefabs. If you're an avatar creator, you can ask me any questions, and that we have prefabs for you, where literally all you have to do is just drag the weapon on the avatar, and it's done, and you can just upload it. Of course, you have to like do this local and stuff. So that's why we have the prefab server, because what you said is true. It's not like an opinion, it's the objective truth of that. That's like why the Quest community was made, was so that we wouldn't be gatekeepy, was to be like a community for everybody to join. So exactly. That's why I have the prefabs, and I have my Ultramarines, which are all prefabs. Every single one of my avatars are prefabs that I can just put into Unity, change the textures to be whatever legion I want, and then I can upload that to other people's. That's why I'm able to make so many avatars for other legions. It's just Chaos is the only one that I can't really do that for, because Chaos is very unique. But even then, we still have prefabs that Drax's making. I just wish people knew more about what we're doing with like the prefabs and stuff, because people just hear 40k and they're immediately like, oh no, I left that a while ago because it was really toxic, and they don't really want to, you know, and I understand why. They don't want to reopen that in case more toxicity will go in. But no, we have like prefab set up. There's a bunch of people in the server. It's structured to be as easy and as simple for avatar creators as possible.
Which is nice. To be fair though, it is very nice that you guys have prefabs and that you guys are willing to help people out, especially within your community, to help with avatars and stuff. And that's really great, especially because wall weapons are starting to be taken out of maps and stuff. However, you've got to understand from other people's perspectives, it's not just about like what happened and with Ludwig and all that stuff. It's also simply about like, they might not be happy with your prefabs. They might not be happy with the way that you balance stuff. And per se, maybe people don't want to be overpowered, but maybe they think your stuff is underpowered, or it is overpowered, or whatever they think. And other people is always going to have a different opinion. So when a group is being like, look, we have our own prefab, so everyone can come over under our rule set, then, you know, a lot of people are going to be feisty. A lot of people don't want to be under people. A lot of people don't want to say that it's the main Imperium and don't want to follow under your guys' rules. Maybe not even just because of the stigma around it, but just because people want to do their own thing. People have their own ideas of what's balanced and what's fair and what rules should be in what place. And that's always going to be the way that it is. People will always have their own opinions. So taking it from their perspective, a group that's being like, look, we have prefabs for you guys to use. This is what we created. This is what we think is fair. This is what you guys should use as well, because it's fair and we created it, so it's fair. Our rules are fair. We created them, you know. It kind of gives us this bad vibe to people, and they're like, well, we want to do our own thing. We're not part of your Imperium. We're part of this guy's Imperium. We want to do our own thing. We want to balance our own stuff. So this is how we're going to do it, you know, etc.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why it's for only the people in our Imperium that want to join and want to be part of that and want to be like part of the rules that we have and want to join that. Because if I open it up to everyone, it's opening me and a bunch of other people into senseless arguments about balancing and about what weapons should be added, what weapons are here, what weapons are there, and that's why it's only for our Imperium, not because of gatekeeping, just because we don't want to argue with people about just VRChat weapons.
Right, of course, and that's completely understandable.
One of the big reasons why we've really pushed for our prefabs in our community. A lot of people fight outside community groups, and we have no problem with that. But between our groups, we like to use our prefabs, you know, like you said, to stem those arguments. If people don't know how to make avatars, I've seen this guy. He's got a lot more patience than I do. I've seen him. He stays with whoever volunteers in a group, and he would show them how to do it. He would show them how to use the prefabs. He obviously can't show everything, but we help whenever we can. But, we're just two people. There's so much we can do. I tend to make avatars for people who need them sometimes, especially if they're not Space Marines. I'm not really good at making Space Marines, I'm not gonna lie. I tend to make the weird stuff, Guardsmen and Xenos.
Well, that's good. That's a good balance.
And I also don't want to get it mixed up. Like I want everybody to work together. I want like everybody to be together and everybody to like have fun. That's why I like usually whenever it's other emperors, I just chill and talk with them. But like I want more than anybody for everybody to come together and just have fun instead of just these senseless, like, it feels like we're gangs, not Imperiums. It feels like we're fucking rival gangs, and we look over there and we're like, oh, that's from that Imperium. You don't want to talk to those people because everybody in that Imperium is toxic. And it's just like, we shouldn't be making these generalized statements about like Imperiums. Like, I'm sure even in Freshman's Great Crusade Imperium, there's a bunch of people in there that are cool and fun to talk to. Like, I've talked to a bunch of people in this Imperium, and they're cool people. It's just like the people at the head of it, are the bad apples. And I just want people to come together. But of course, a lot of these Imperiums have been around for a while, not nearly as long as ours, but just have been around to have their own memories and have their own things that they want to hold on to. These memories, and I understand that. I don't want them to let them go, but I just want them to not feel like hatred towards us or like a stigma towards us about a guy that's hasn't been around for like almost a year now.
Right. Yeah, of course. And that makes perfect sense, because the responsibility of being a large group and being one of the largest groups is, you have to make sure that people don't feel like you're specifically trying to eat them, like you're trying to enforce your law upon other people, and that you're just, at the end of the day, we're all a bunch of people on this game shooting each other with magical guns. or
I mean, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Like even with our one of our biggest controversies out of recent memory is us changing most of our maps to the new system. That change was because those maps, though played on by other communities, are mainly for our community to play on. And even when we did change, we left a bunch of maps, that easily could be updated on the old system. Like a bunch of my maps, I deliberately left on the old system for one reason, because I knew a lot of people complained about it and they want to play on the old system. I mean, me included for the longest time, but now I love the new system. I absolutely love it. But and two, I'm lazy as shit, so I just left them. But I know Ghost also left a couple of his maps on the old system as well. And
yes, yeah.
A bunch of other people have the old system, though it's not the ones that we have. It's Bacon's old system. The reason why I know it's Bacon's is because the shotgun does slow. Is like, I think it's great. Now, I'm not necessarily going to play on those maps because I like the new system, but I think it's great that people are making their own maps and being able to have their own little slice of adventure. Like, I remember one of the biggest things is that we have a monopoly on all the maps. The reason why we don't necessarily share the system, the new system, is because it's our rules. It's the same thing as the prefabs. Those are designated for us. Like, they're our rules. They're right. All the classes and the health systems are for our rules that we have. If we just put it out there, then that's opening ourselves up to be like, why isn't it this? Like, on this system, it's this. Why we need to change this? And it's just a bunch of arguments that are unnecessary. And plus, that system that we use is public. It's not even like private. It just, our values are private to us. The system that we use is completely public, and they can use it as well.
One of the big reasons we really stopped using wall weapons, which while they wouldn't really work great in the newer systems, and it would take a lot of work to put them in. They also had the side effect of being extremely performance heavy, and they had a lot of bugs. But like one of the examples, we would make a world, and without the weapons, it would be 20 megabytes, right? 20 megabytes runs a lot easier on a Quest headset. With the wall weapons, it would be about 60. It just didn't make too much sense after a while when we made these more complex maps, because in our community, if we teach people, then we can focus on just making better and better avatars for groups and better maps for everyone. One of the big issues I remember, though, was World Melee. I always hated World Melee when it came to those wall weapons. Oh, it was never fun. I'm sure you remember. You'd be this really cool Primarch, and you'd have like a scout run up to you with a chainsword, and you'd get one shot. It was fun.
Yep. Yeah.
But I understand a lot of people have nostalgia over it. It's nostalgic. I feel nostalgic looking at that old wall from Ernshim's map. I'm like, I remember all the strats we used to do. I remember the strats other groups would do, and I'd be angry and I'd hate them for it. I remember groups would... I wouldn't hate them, but, like, for example, back then, people used to make their Space Marines slightly smaller. They would look at another Space Marine group, and they'd be like, I'm gonna make my guys just like a head shorter, because everyone had the same health. So if you were smaller, you'd have a smaller hitbox, and you'd use the same weapons. Other times, people would only use scouts, or the best people would use scouts. If it was a scout captain, I've had a few arguments over if a scout captain should have a guardian spear. It wasn't fun. We've really tried in current time to pull away from those arguments, because those arguments aren't fun for anyone.
Yeah.
Me and Roongie are Warhammer fans. We want to see people do cool shit, I want to see a bunch of guardsmen shooting their las guns, dying, coming back. Space Marines want to take down a bunch of enemies and work together as a squad. It's, everyone wants to be their own hero. And with those old weapons, it was kind of really hard to do that. So, I mean, I get it for the wanting those old things back, but I don't think that's the play, at least for us.
Right, of course.
If there were other people who made, like you said, making your own stuff, like, all the power to you,
Right.
The more worlds I see out there that we don't make, that shows the Warhammer community is really big, and it's not just us. I've never been just us ever since in the beginning, it was, and then more and more people join in, they innovate. Competition is the birthplace of innovation, something like that.
Oh, indeed. No, competition has always been a huge thing for me. I've thought that the idea of there being a main Imperium is actually quite good, because it's big. And therefore, other groups want to strive to be bigger, and that constant competition will strive for people to get better and better, make better worlds, make better avatars, have better rank structures, have better this, have better that. Competition is really good, and having a main guy, having a main thing can be really helpful for people to want to get past that. And it might be half of the stigma around your guys' group. It might, some could be drama, but the other half is just simply, you guys are the main one. You guys are massive. You guys have been around for such a long time, since the beginning, and because of that, that's a lot to live up to as another Imperium. There's a lot to do to try to surpass that, get better than that, have people think your Imperium's better than the big one.
It's, while I do encourage that, I encourage the competition for innovation. It's gotten out of hand. There's unneeded toxicity. I don't think Warhammer needs to be any more toxic, and I think it's more than just VRChat. Have you seen tabletop players, dog? They're fucked.
I've seen some stuff like
They are
before Space
fucked,
Marine
dude.
2. I've learned that the rest of Warhammer is not much better, but you see a lot of it here.
No.
You see a lot of it on
But
VR.
we just, why can't everyone just get along,
Well, we're human beings. Human beings are never just gonna get along.
No.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. So we're gonna try. We're sure gonna try, but I mean, unless someone can all agree on one thing, then it's gonna be pretty hard to latch on to something.
Yeah, that's why we're gonna do what we do best, and that's just build.
So, your guys' experiences leading the Imperium, what has it been like? Stressful, enjoyable, a little bit of both. What are your guys' experiences?
It's been, for the most part, really enjoyable. I love the interactions I get to have with people, especially helping people and watching others improve. I'm always open for questions. I know during meetings I sound snarky or like tired and stuff, but I'm always answering questions and helping people along the way, helping people make avatars. I just want to see my Imperium grow and get bigger and bigger. So I'm free for like any questions. I've even helped other Ultramarine groups with like, I give them some of my avatars and I want to see them grow. I want to see other people succeed. It's very enjoyable. Sure, there's some stressful times, mainly whenever there's a blacklist. It's very stressful because since we are the main one, pretty much everybody looks at our blacklist as like,
Right. Yeah.
like, this is who we're going to blacklist too. So it's pretty stressful at times. But no, for the most part, I enjoy it. I like interacting with the people, having fun. Just answering questions and being as helpful as I can be.
Well, I've had a lot of experience on the administrative side of our community. I had 3 years of experience before I got brought up to second in command. For a while, I was first in command. I'm going to be honest, I hated it. I'm so glad he's doing it now. I love Warhammer. That's the reason I'm here. I like the people that I fight with, like 99% of the time. But it's really good to be able to get your voice out there and actually be heard. And for a while there, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't feel like I was heard back in the old days. When I just started a group, I felt like it didn't feel great. And I don't want to make other groups feel like that. I want to give everyone's chance to, be in the sunlight, be in the shine, do their thing. And that's been my priority, is just, make this community a more fun place to be. I may not be a great admin, but I'll fucking talk for hours, What I find more important than anything is just being universally decent with everyone. That is the most important thing that anyone in any community could do. That's how you make great communities, just through being kind to those around you, because more often than not, they show it in respect. And even when it comes to our bigger community as a whole, the more we help people out, the more people start to like us, the more our reputation improves from our old stigma of these guys are assholes. The more we do these, the more we talk. Even if people don't like us, still now, if people don't like me personally, I'm glad I got to say what I did say. I'm not very good at formulating my words, but I think you get what I mean.
Yeah, it's okay.
I just want to summarize. Being in charge, not even in charge, being second in command it's not simple, I guess. It's not easy, it's not hard. It's just you do what you can do. That's it.
Yeah. I understand that, yeah. Well, since Ludwig and up to now, up to today, do you think you guys have changed a lot? Do you think you guys have gotten past a lot of what you guys were before and have changed for the better, have changed dramatically?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think we have changed a lot over the course of Ludwig leaving to now, especially with the new maps, a bunch of new rules, of course, new groups going in and out. The people have definitely changed as well. A lot less toxic people are able to, incorporate themselves into our community. Pretty much everybody in our community are like friends and know each other. So it's a lot more friendly and open than it previously was, where a lot of people felt like it was just elitism, where a lot of people at the top just had all the power and had all the say. Now it's just, if you go into a meeting, it's more like a bunch of friends that are able to talk and hang out with each other, more so than, a dictatorship or a Roman Senate.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Starting from the bottom and building your way to the top, you notice change over time, and sometimes it's really slow. Other times it's really fast. But sometimes change is good. A lot of change just happened, and a lot of people have nostalgia over what there used to be, and a lot of people just hate what it used to be. So we're just trying to pick out the best of what there used to be, and we're trying to take out the worst of what it used to be. So yeah, change is good. That's how you grow. That's how you progress.
Right. And that's good. That is very good to hear, and I'm sure a lot of people watching will be very excited to hear that. Speaking of which, for the people watching, why would you recommend people join the 40K universe? Why would you recommend? What is your guys' selling point? What is the thing that would be beneficial to the people who who join your guys' Imperium?
Well, the first thing I want to say to anybody who is interested or wants to join is that think of it as not as an Imperium that you're joining, but as a community where your voice matters and you are a person that we can talk to, and expect to make friends, because I'm going to show up to your events and try to make you laugh, and if I don't, then I'll look like a goob. But the reason why I think people should join ours, not to say that they shouldn't join other Imperiums, but the reason why they should join ours is because we should be the stepping stone where we can help people create the avatars and the groups they want so that they can move on and do better things later, whether that is joining another Imperium or maybe even making their own down the road. I would say that our Imperium is a good stepping stone for that, because in a lot of other groups, they usually have to use public avatars because they don't have access to some of the knowledge that we have. So that would be what I would say as why people should join as the first steps.
Drac?
It's similar. We're a really good gateway into getting into Warhammer, starting your first VRChat group, and the work me, Roongie, Ghost, so many other people have done has been around making that starting period as easy as possible. And I guess this is how you do it right. So why not take the resources we already have?
Right. And Sersh, I mean, this was your Imperium way back in the day. I mean, from what you've heard from these guys and from what you've learned about them, do you think that people should join this Imperium that once was yours?
I mean, in a way, I still kind of see it as mine because, I made it. That's never going to change. It's just in new hands, I suppose. Well, for starters, I think for the first time in a while, I will say yes, because I kind of hate to say this, but for a while, I would tell people, no, you should reconsider that, because it was less ideal during the times that I would say that, when, who was in charge. But I will say it is nice to hear that it sounds like things have genuinely changed for the better. So I think it would be worth it. I think it'd be a worthwhile thing for people to pop in and check out the Imperium again. And honestly, I myself might think about maybe popping in every now and then just to see what's going on. I haven't done that in forever, to be honest.
Well, that is very good to hear, and I'm sure that they are very excited to hear that as well. That they get the approval. They get the approval from the creator of the damn thing. So, a question that I have for everybody. This is the question I ask everybody in every single interview I do, because this is the reason why I'm doing this. What are our opinions on the community, the Warhammer VRChat community as a whole? Everything, the Quest side, the PC side, every Imperium. What do we think about it?
Oh boy, that's something. That's a big one.
That is
starters,
the big question.
Yeah. Well, for starters, it is not a perfect thing. I mean, nothing is perfect, but there are a lot of flaws, little infighting, petty dramas and all that. But overall, though, despite all that, I'd say it's a pretty good thing overall. Sure, there's a lot of bad things, but you really only ever hear about the bad things. You know, a lot of people don't really stop to just hear all the good things that are happening, because I guarantee you, in most situations, there are more good things happening than bad things happening in terms of the community. And I think that's something, it's worth looking at as well when you think about it. Because I think most of us here can attest that we hear a lot of bad things going on at a fairly consistent rate. Yeah, but as I said though previously, overall, I think it's in a good spot. A lot of things need to get worked on for sure, but that can happen. Things change.
Well, what about you guys? What are your guys' opinions on the community as a whole?
I personally think that like every other community, it has its ups and downs, horrible people that you can meet, as well as very amazing people that you can meet that will give you friendships that can last years. I think that people should approach the Warhammer community the same way they approach all communities, is where they approach it with caution, because you never know who you're going to meet, because first impressions are the most important thing when it comes to meeting people, especially fandoms. So approach the Warhammer community with an open mind, knowing that for every bad person you meet, there's about 3 people that are really, really good and kind people.
Drac?
Every community has its good and its bad. There are good on the Quest side, there are bad on the PC side. There are bad on the PC side, good on the Quest side. Or wait, I just said the same thing. You get what I mean. I've seen a lot of gatekeeping, but I've had a lot of help from the most unexpected places. When I first started my Necrons, I actually got help, very quietly from a PC Necron, and he helped me get me off my feet. He gave me a few assets to start off with, and I'm not allowed to say his name, but it really showed me that not everyone's against you when you're on here. Everyone is kind of doing their own thing, so it's never fair to compilate a whole group because of one person.
Right, yeah. All right, well, thank you very much for everyone being on the show. Man, this is going to be a long video, but I think it's well worth it. This is definitely this is the big one. This is the main Imperium. We got the guy who created it. We got the guy who created the community that my channel rests in. I mean, all of this was because of this one dude. So, it was very important to get this done. But I appreciate everyone being on the show. Thank you for taking your time out of the day to come see me, to come let me pick your brain for what has it been, 2 hours now.
I think a bit longer than 2 hours, but
probably, yeah. But yeah, everyone watching, thank you very much, and yeah, that was another episode of Warhammer Interviews. Bye. If you made it to the end of the video, I just want to personally thank you. I know it was a very long video, longer than anyone I've posted so far, and therefore going very highly against the algorithm. I know a lot of people nowadays have short attention spans, and especially probably the Warhammer community, but if you did make it to the end, just, comment Doofenshmirtz for no reason at all in the comments, just so that I know that you made it to the end. But in all seriousness though, thank you so much. We have reached 500 subscribers. I cannot believe we got this far. We were not supposed to get this far, but we did. So I put a lot of effort into this video, and it took me like 4 to 5 days to actually edit, and then another 2 days to record, and it was just a nightmare, but I think it came out pretty well. So with all that being said, I am going to be taking a small break from interviews. I never meant for this channel to be an interview channel. It just kind of happens. I want to do other stuff. So we're not taking a break from the channel. I did that for 8 months. I had my break. No more breaks for me. But we are going to be shifting gears a little bit. I want to do more content than just interviews. I have a couple of shows I have planned for the future. I still accept funny clips that I want to post for shorts, and a bunch of other things that me and my team have yet to discuss. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.